This is Sony's new portable speaker. It's designed to be durable and perfect for the great outdoors and for traveling around the world with. And the ULT Field 1 has been dialed in with a signature sound professionally tuned by Sony with the addition of a superpower button. Think of it kind of like a nuclear option when you want added bass in your music. And if you're a Sony fan, you're probably automatically going to love this speaker, but there is the ULT Field 7, which is a bigger version of this. So you might want to take into consideration some of the key features on this one so you can compare the two. So as you can see right here on the box, this speaker has been designed to deliver powerful bass, also 12 hours of playback time. That's at 50% volume with the ULT mode on. And also you'll notice it is IP67 rated. That's water and dust proof. And I know I'm stating the obvious, but right here I have the black model. There are 4 different colors. There's a black, a white, the forest gray, which is my favorite, and there's a new striking color, which is of course orange. That advert was actually for a drink called Tango, and it was banned here in the UK because people were going around tangoing people in the streets. True story, and it actually did help them sell more drinks. So the ULT Field 1 has that classic cylindrical design that we see on a lot of other portable speakers, but with this one, it widens at the ends. And this allows the Field 1 to have slightly larger passive radiators at either side, and this should help add a little more to that powerful bass that this speaker is said to deliver. And I will be doing a sound test and also a waterproof test, so stick around if you're interested in seeing that. The entire speaker is wrapped in a hard-wearing tight weave mesh, which is water resistant and dust proof as already mentioned, and behind the mesh is a large woofer and a tweeter, and at either end we have those passive radiators. Now the drivers on the front of the speaker are slightly angled upwards when in the horizontal position. The rubberized frame on the ULT Field 1 allows it to also be shock resistant, and you'll notice it has these kind of vents at either side, and this helps the speaker when placed vertically radiate the sound around the speaker, and this should also help those lower bass frequencies to radiate a bit further. And straight out of the box, it's already pre-installed with this rope tether, which you can use as a carry handle, and if you pull it through, you can also use it to hang it up on things, for example off your beach umbrella next time you go on holiday. And the sound test is coming up, but before we do that, let me show you the ports on this thing, or should I say port. Around the back we have a water resistant seal on this rubberized door, and behind it we have the USB-C charging port. The optimal charging speed here is 15 watts. Now something I wish Sony had added behind here is an additional button for the Party Connect feature. This Party Connect feature allows you to pair 2 of these speakers in a stereo pair, and also multiple Sony Party speakers together. Now, what I will say about that is when you are using this speaker, there is a very good chance it's going to be connected to your phone with the app running. And through the app, it is very easy to pair up the speakers. So it's definitely not a deal breaker. The buttons on board are self-explanatory. There is the option to connect your phone and use this speaker for voice calls with the built-in mic. And this is how you'd answer a call with the play pause button right here. The buttons are protected with a rubberized coating, and I don't foresee these wearing down anytime soon. And then there's this, the bass boost superpower button, otherwise known as the ULT button, which has a kind of color shifting logo beneath a clear plastic surface, and it looks like it's lit up even when it's switched off. And when you power up the speaker, it is actually backlit. On Sony's previous portable speakers, they did have a bunch of flashing lights and things like that. So this new light reflecting ULT power button, this backlit, kind of replaces that. And even though Sony have stripped out the party lights, there are some LED indicators here for the power. So when it's green, it's got good power. When it goes orange or red, you'll know the power is starting to run down. Also, the little blue LED lets you know when it's connected and when it's in pairing mode. Now listen here, what's the point of having powerful bass and a beautiful sound signature if you don't have the power to use it? And the reality is the playtime on this speaker will vary depending on the volume that you like to listen at. The 12 hours stated on the box is of course best case scenario. If you are going to max out this speaker 100% with ULT mode on, you're looking at around 4 hours at best. And in my opinion, for a speaker this size with this much bass power, that's quite reasonable. And if you are out and about and you do run out of power on this, a quick 10-minute charge with a portable power bank can give you up to 3 hours of added playback. Now let me give you a quick guided tour of the Sony Music Center app, which is the app that you will use to control this speaker with iOS or Android. So the speaker actually has Google Fast Pair, so as soon as you turn it on, it will pop up on your phone if it's an Android to pair quickly. At the top, you have the battery level and the connection status. So right now it's connected over Bluetooth. You have the option to group speakers. So if you have more of these, you can stereo pair, and you can also pair hundreds of other Sony speakers if you have them. You have your library on the device and the music app launch here, Tidal, YouTube Music, and those are the streaming services that I actually have installed on this phone right now. If you have more, they will show up here also. If you go into the settings, you'll notice you can enable the ULT power sound here remotely from the device instead of using the button on the speaker itself. And actually, if you go into this menu, you have the option to switch it to custom, and you have a 3-band EQ here where you can actually dial in your own sound signature if you want to. It would have been nice to have a few more bands on this, but it's pretty nice that it's there at all, to be honest. And there are a few more settings you need to know about within the Music Center app, so let me show you those real quick. If you go back into settings, go back to sound, at the bottom here you'll see Bluetooth connection quality. If you go to this speaker does support AAC and SBC. AAC is going to be the better codec for quality, so when you're in quality mode, that's what it's going to use. If you switch to stability mode, it will reduce the latency so that you get less latency if you're watching a movie or gaming or something like that. Also within the settings on the app, you do have the power options where you can enable the stamina mode. So this will turn off the ULT mode and limit the max volume. And then you also have the auto standby option. You can turn this off if you want to. And there are some settings within the Music Center app that will affect all speakers connected to your device. I know there'll be some of you out there asking about LDAC. While the phone does support it and the Sony Music Center app does support it, this particular speaker's frequency response is 20 Hz to 20 kHz, so it's not really going to make the best use of that high-res codec as much as other speakers with a wider frequency response might do. Anyway, now let's do a quick sound test. I'll show you guys what this sounds like without the ULT mode enabled and then with it enabled. And we'll also test how the sound changes when we go from horizontal to vertical, because when this is against the surface, it could change the amount of bass because it'll be using that surface to potentially add even more bass in theory. So let's see. So here's my opinion on this speaker. The sound quality is very good, but for me, I have to have that ULT mode enabled at all times because it just sounds so much better with that extra depth in the audio. The high frequencies are good, but once you start going extremely high with the volume, you might start to notice a little bit of muddiness in the highs and mid frequencies. It's important to remember that this is a mono speaker, so you're not going to get stereo separation from it, which can add a lot of extra detail to the music, which you can still get if you do pair two of these together. I really do like the design of this speaker and the fact that it is shock proof, because a speaker like this, when you're carrying it around on holiday and throwing it in bags and it's getting knocked around and potentially even dropped in sand, you really want it to be as durable as possible. And because it's got that IP67 rating, that does mean that this can survive underwater for 30 minutes. So if you do happen to drop it into a swimming pool or it gets washed into the sea a little bit, you can retrieve it and it will be okay. But if you're a bass head and you don't mind carrying around a bit of a bigger speaker with you, then you might want to check out the ULT Field 7, because not only does that have more power, it also has more battery life and proper stereo audio. Anyway, I did get to check out all of the new ULT products at a Sony event in London, and I did make a video about that, so that's on screen right now. And also, the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed this thing that I'm wearing around my neck. This is the brand new Reon Pocket 5 from Sony. It's a personal air conditioning device. When I'm filming these videos with all the lights on and things like that, it does get really warm in here, and this has been helping me to regulate my temperature. I've also made a video about this. That first impressions video is also on screen right now. And the price of the ULT Field 1 at the time of this video is £119 here in the UK. $129 in the US. If you guys want to check it out, there will be affiliate links below this video. And if you use those, you will be supporting the channel. And in my opinion, at the price point, it's a very good option.
Hello, Tony. I think we might use a video replay here.